Chad's military transition leader Mahamat Idriss Déby was officially sworn in on Monday as president, ending the uncertainty for the country's political future. He said that his government will put his heart and soul into ensuring that the will of the Chadian people is fully upheld. He said this on Monday after being presented with the badge of dignity of the Great Cross of Chad, a symbol of Chadian power. The second phase of transition that we are embarking on will be fully devoted to the implementation of the conclusions of the National Inclusive and Sovereign Dialogue in the establishment of a government of national unity. The 38-year-old five-star general took the helm in April 2021 after his father, Idriss Déby Itno, who had ruled with an iron fist for 3 decades, was killed during an operation against rebels. Parliament was dissolved and the constitution suspended as Déby was proclaimed president. He headed a junta of 15 generals whose declared plan was to hand over power after 18 months.
Nigeria, Africa's largest economy, is grappling with rising food prices that's affecting the living standards of people. According to the World Bank, inflation was likely to push an additional 1 million Nigerians into poverty by the end of 2022. Various groups have come up with initiatives to help indigent families. One of such initiatives is the Lagos Food Bank Initiative, led by Michael Sumbola.
What we are doing here today is like a frontline assistance to those who are at the end of hunger and food insecurity. We go from one community to the other, profiling families and then seeing their level of vulnerability, looking at their purchasing power, their disposable income, and then see how we can come in to help bridge that hunger gap. If you look at the situation of the country, there's prices of food have gone really high.
Some beneficiaries want the government to address inflation and live up to its responsibilities to citizens.
They did to it. With the scarcity of food right now, I don't think people can afford it. I want to buy regulars of kerosene. Regulars of kerosene I'm buying 200. It's now 115. You can just imagine the amount.
We beg our government to provide us something. If we want to do election now we then go use. Now we will go, they bring our card, they queue. Please tell our governments, may they not forget us.
But there is in fact more to deal with. At least 17 million Nigerian children are undernourished, the second highest in the world according to a 2021 UNICEF report. This is a cause for concern for these nutritionists.
The government can empower PHCs, which are primary healthcare centers, so they can be able to efficiently tackle malnutrition at the grassroots level. Food insecurity has a very big role to play in malnutrition. If the food insecurity is sort of tackled, we'll definitely see a reduction in malnutrition cases.
According to Nigeria's National Bureau of Statistics, food inflation stands at 23.12%, while unemployment stands at 33.30%. With this current situation, many here believe initiatives like these will help tackle hunger and malnutrition among indigent families across the country. David Taylor reporting for Africa News in Lagos.
In Lesotho, a millionaire political novice has won the most votes in legislative elections, but fell short of securing a parliamentary majority that could have ended long-running political gridlock. Revolution for Prosperity RFP, a party set up only 6 months ago by a 64-year-old businessman Sam Matekane, won 56 out of 126 in parliament, according to final results published by the Southern African country's Electoral Commission. The small mountain kingdom has been governed for the past decade by a string of coalition governments that have proved fractious and frail, and no premier has served out a full 5-year term. Matekane, who stars himself as a champion of the country's business community and was considered an outsider in the vote, came close to an outright win, but will now have to secure the support of smaller parties to form a government. The Democratic Congress Party, led by Mathibeli Mokothu, came in second, securing 29 lawmakers. The All Basotho Convention Party, which led the outgoing government, suffered a sharp drop in support, winning only 8 seats. A former Liberian rebel went on trial Monday in Paris on charges of crimes against humanity, torture, and act of barbarism during the West African country's civil war in the 1990s. The 47-year-old Kunti Kamara is accused of complicity in massive and systematic torture and inhumane acts against civilians in Liberia's Lofa County in 1993 to 1994. This is the first time in France to try a person accused of torture and crimes against humanity in Liberia. Liberia is a country where there is total impunity for these crimes. There are expectations and hopes on the part of the victims that light will now shed on these atrocious crimes that were committed during a civil war that lasted more than 20 years and that ravaged Liberia. Its victims now hope justice will prevail. The trial by the Paris Criminal Court has been made possible under a French law that recognizes universal jurisdiction for crimes against humanity and acts of torture. In fact, thanks to what is called the mechanism of universal jurisdiction, countries that are completely foreign to the FARC can judge foreigners who have committed crimes abroad against foreigners. According to court documents, he is being accused of having hit a man and then opened his chest with an axe in order to extract and eat his heart. He is also being accused of having allowed and abetted in his position of authority rapes and sexual torture, and of having compelled people into forced labor under inhumane conditions.
By the bodyguards as well as
Kenya intends to pursue the construction of a gas pipeline linking Tanzania's main city, Dar es Salaam, to the coastal city of Mombasa and onto the capital, Nairobi, in a bid to reduce energy costs. The 600 kilometers pipeline has been estimated by local reports to cost around $1.1 billion. The Kenyan president spoke to Tanzania media on Monday shortly after holding bilateral talks with President Samia Suluhu on his first visit to the neighboring country since taking office in September. The project will reduce energy charges in the industrial sector as well as for families in their homes, according to the Kenyan president. In May last year, Mr. Ruto's predecessor Uhuru Kenyatta and Madam Suluhu signed a preliminary agreement to transport gas from Tanzania to Kenya for power generation, possibly for cooking and eating. The agreement was part of a longer-term development infrastructure between the two major East African economies.